Hello everyone, it's Grandpa Hickory. Welcome to my video. I got my tea. Cheers to you. There was something there. Back in 1959, I'll never forget it as long as I live. I was always out in the woods, and there were several apple trees and things like that. It was in the fall of the year, and I would go out in those woods, and they were just growing way out in the woods. Apparently, there had been old homesteads there, I guess back in the early 1800s or 1900s. But the apple trees were quite a few of them out there. And they were big, wonderful, crunchy apples. They were so good. I used to go out and I would take my shirt and put the apples in there, and I'd get a bunch of them, and then I would head back through the woods, and I'd walk all the way back home with them. Well, what happened here was I was out in the woods and I was gathering apples, and I had so many that I was having to hold my shirt way up here because I had so many of them. And it was way up here, and I was walking, and apples are, they're lumpy, and they shift and they move, and you know what I'm talking about. When you're carrying them like that, it's kind of clumsy. But any road, I was doing pretty good. I was walking along, and the leaves were real thick in the woods. And when you'd walk, it was loud. You know how it is, stepping on dry, fallen leaves that are lying on the ground. And I was making my way through the woods, and I got up. I had to climb up this little hill, and I grabbed a hold of a tree like this. If a tree was about that big around, and I grabbed a hold of it to help myself, steady myself as I went up that little hill, and I stepped up on I call it a bank, the upper bank of the woods, so that I could continue on my way. And when I had that tree and I got to the top, I heard something. And immediately, it was like goosebumps all up and down my spine. And my hair on the back of my neck kind of stood up. And the hair on my head kind of stood up. And all my senses were on full alert. You hunters and people that are outdoor enthusiasts, that you hike in the woods and things like this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The more that you are in the woods, the more that you spend time in the peace and quiet of the forest or the woods, the more your senses can pick things up. And you can feel things, and you can hear better, and you can sense things. It's just, something that the Lord gave each and every one of us. And the Indians were extremely good. I'm talking about the native Indians of America. They were extremely well aware of these traits, and they had these traits. They were very, I call it wood aware, but it's forest aware. Woodland aware, forest aware, you know what I'm saying. But he wrote, I'll never forget. And it was right in behind me. And it was going, and it kind of slid like, and then it would continue again. And then there was this heavy breathing. And I looked back, I was horrified. I was ready to drop them apples, buddy, and take off running. Let me tell you, I was. I was on full alert. And I kept looking at the woods. It was real quiet. It stopped. But I could hear this heavy breathing. Real heavy like. And it made my hair stand up even more, and my goosebumps even more going up and down my spine. So I didn't hear it anymore. I kind of looked around. I didn't hear the heavy breathing. So I turned around and I started walking real slow, because way on further up I'd say about 200 yards up in front of me, maybe 250 yards. There was a dirt road, and you would come out of the woods and you would cross the dirt road. Back then, we had dirt roads. We didn't have paved roads. Everybody had outhouses, and it was rural living, you know. You know what I'm talking about. And we had dirt roads. And you could come out on that dirt road and then go across and walk through the woods again. And I had to do this like 3 streets over, and each one was about, I guess the woods were about 400 yards, you know, between each road. It's a long way for a lad to walk, but I did it all the time. I spent most of my time in the woods. I used to go hunting and things, and I would go fishing. There were a lot of ponds way out in the woods, and I would carry a throw line in my pocket, and I'd pull it out. My dad taught me and my brother how to make these we call them throw lines, but yeah, they're wrapped around your hand. It's looped and tied, and then you've got your sinker, your cork. We had what we call pencil cork, and it's like this, you know, in the water, and then goes under, you know. And we had the twine back then. We had nylon twine. We didn't have monofilament. This was back before the days of monofilament. We had nylon twine, and then you had your sinkers on it, and then you had your hook, and you had it on this little piece of wood, and you would put your hook into that wood so that it wouldn't get you in your pocket. So I carried all these things with me, and you could catch grasshoppers, or you could move loose leaves around the bottom of a tree and dig down in the soft soil and get a grub worm or some red worms, or a black cricket or whatever, and put it on the hook, and you could catch a fish. So anyway, this is what all I had on me. And plus I was holding my shirt way up here. I'm not going to raise my shirt up and show you, but it was like that, cram full of apples. I mean, I was bulging with apples. And I was started walking, you know, and I kept looking back behind me, and then I stopped suddenly, and I heard it. Shh, shh. Well, when I would take a couple of steps, it would take a couple of steps. Friend of mine, when I got to that road, when I saw through the trees, the road was there. I took off fast as I could, and as I did, I could hear it. I mean, real loud. It was running behind me. I ran out on that road, and I whirled around, and I faced those woods, and I hollered. I mean, because, you know, I was scared. I hollered real loud, "Hey! What are you doing? Hey!" I'm not going to do it real loud because my neighbors will think I'm a nut. But I'm just showing you. And I was scared. And I did not go back in the woods. I walked with all them apples all the way up that long, long road till I got there was a main road that was paved, and I walked beside, you know, the road. There was a big ditch, but there was a little area, a trail that you could walk, you know, path. And I walked on that all the way to my street, my dirt road, and I went back, and when I got inside, I dumped them out on the table. And friends, I was breathing so heavy, but I went back to the front door, and I peeked out the front windows, and I locked all the doors. I was by myself. And my brother was over at his friend's house or somewhere. My sisters, they were over at their friend's house. So it was just me by myself. So I tell you what, I was spooked like you wouldn't believe. And I didn't go back down to them woods for a long, long time afterwards. But there was something there. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'm Grandpa Hickory. I'll see you on the next video. There are strange things in the woods, as we all, I'm pretty sure you're aware also. When you go, next time you go out in the wooded area, stop and listen. Be aware of your surroundings. I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye from Texas.